Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive.
The podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Let's dive in.
What if everything you've been taught about consciousness, non-duality, and the path to awakening isn't just misguided, but deliberately engineered to keep you recycling in an energy harvesting matrix?
That is quite the question to kick things off.
It's a nuclear question.
Yeah.
And I want to be really, really clear right from the start. Normally, when we pull a source for one of these deep dives, we're looking at something, well, something constructive.
Right. A bestseller, maybe some academic research, something that's meant to, help.
Exactly. Something that wants to teach you a better way to live. But the document we have today, it feels different. It feels, I don't know, almost radioactive.
It's called Gabi Kovalenko, that PDF, which sounds so harmless.
Completely innocuous. But what's inside, it reads less like a self-help guide and more like a leaked schematic for a prison break.
A prison break from a reality we don't even realize we're in.
That's it. It's not a spiritual guide. The text itself calls it an analysis guide. And its target isn't to make you feel better. Its target is the entire framework of modern spirituality.
It's a technical manual. And it's for deconstructing what it calls the architecture of enslavement. And we have to stop on that word, enslavement.
Yeah.
That's not being used as, like, a metaphor here.
No, it's literal.
Yeah.
And that's the premise we have to grapple with right out of the gate.
Yeah.
The idea that the very tools you're using to wake up, meditation, non-duality, law of attraction, all of it, what if those are actually the bars of the cage?
It's the ultimate twist. The perfect trap is the one the prisoner builds himself, thinking he's paving a path to freedom.
The document lays out what it calls a primary directive for this analysis. It says we have to trace the architectural flow of control mechanisms. And it calls all these spiritual concepts nodes.
Nodes, like
Right.
points in a network.
Exactly. Checkpoints in a system that are designed, first and foremost, for containment. It argues that these big spiritual axioms, we're all one, love is the answer, they actually establish containment.
So they set the boundaries, the playpen.
Right. And then it says there are emotional levers to lower your resistance to that containment. And I love this term, bafflements. Bafflements. Concepts designed specifically to obscure the contradictions in the system, to make you feel like it's too complex to question.
So your confusion isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's designed to make you give up and just accept the mystery.
Precisely. It's security through obscurity. So the method this text uses is, well, it's ruthless. It cross-references every spiritual truth against some really heavy frameworks. First, Gnostic archonic strategies.
Just for a quick primer, the Gnostics basically believed the material world was a prison, a counterfeit reality created by a flawed or malevolent entity called the Demiurge and his archons.
So the text asks, does this New Age belief feel like something from a benevolent source? Or does it feel like a trap an archon would design?
That's a brutal question to ask.
It is. And it also tests them against pure skepticism, chaos magic pragmatism, which is all about, does it actually produce results? And even anarcho-primitivism, which rejects all hierarchy.
So it's a total stress test. And through this, it identifies a recurring pattern.
This is the core equation of the whole system, according to the source.
Mm-hmm.
Fever reward plus passive acceptance.
Equals sustained recycling.
Sustained recycling. It's such a chillingly corporate way to say you're trapped in the reincarnation cycle, your resource being perpetually renewed for harvest.
And the mechanism that allows for all this is what the text calls the evolution of the illusion of separation. It's a master trick to keep the energy flowing in one direction up.
So we have to be willing to put everything on the table today. The things people hold sacred, their empathy, their hope for a new earth. We have to run them through this deconstruction. Let's start with the foundation, the axioms as prison walls.
And we have to start with the biggest one of all. Perception is reality.
Oh, this is everywhere. It's the core of the whole you create your own reality movement.
Right.
It sounds so empowering, right? It gives you total agency.
Yeah.
So why does this document call it the first wall of the prison?
Because, according to the analysis, it locks you into what it calls a self-reinforcing simulation.
Okay, unpack that.
Think about it. If you truly 100% believe that everything you experience is a product of your own mind, your own perception.
Then you deny any objective reality outside yourself.
Exactly. You deny the existence of the cage itself. If you're in a prison cell and you believe you manifested the steel bars with your negative thoughts,
You're never going to look for a key. You're just going to sit there and try to think positive thoughts to make the bars dissolve.
but the bars are still there. Your positive thinking doesn't affect them. It just blinds you to their existence. It masks what the source calls external frequency overrides.
So if some other intelligence, a demiurge, an archon, whatever, has built a frequency fence around this reality, and you believe that fence is just a projection of your own unhealed trauma,
You'll never fight the fence. You'll just spend your life in therapy trying to heal the inner you that supposedly created it. It's the ultimate gaslight. Why are you hitting yourself?
it turns the inmate into the architect of their own prison. The source even cross-references this with the heretical matrix, calling it a conditioned spell field.
You're doing the warden's job for him.
Yeah.
For free.
And that leads right into the next axiom, and this one's going to hit the non-dual community right where it hurts. The idea of consciousness as the ground of being.
I mean, this is ancient wisdom, right? Hermeticism, the all is mind, we are all consciousness. What could possibly be wrong with that?
The distinction the text makes is incredibly subtle, but it's critical. It argues that the version of universal mind we're sold is actually a baseline that's designed to mask artificial fragmentation overlays.
Artificial fragmentation. So the oneness we're tapping into isn't the real deal. It's what? The matrix's local server.
That's a perfect analogy. The text calls it primal flow mimicry. It feels like the infinite ocean of God, but it's actually a closed-loop system, a corporate intranet that feels like the whole internet.
So you think you're connecting to the divine, but you're actually just logging into the simulation's operating system.
And the system administrator's watching. You're swimming in an aquarium, thinking it's the ocean because the water feels the same. But the walls are there.
And inside that aquarium, you have the next trap. Self as creator. This is the law of attraction. Manifest your dreams.
And the text is brutal here. It says this frames you as a God-like scripter of experience.
Which is, I mean, that's catnip for the ego, right? I am God. I manifested this parking spot. It makes you feel incredibly powerful inside your little box.
Of course. But the analysis says this whole belief system conceals something much darker. Co-creative demiurgic partnerships.
Okay. Co-creative demiurgic partnerships. Let's really break that phrase down because that is terrifying.
It implies that when you manifest things inside this reality, a car, a relationship, money, you aren't actually creating from a sovereign space. You're entering into a contract.
A contract with the architect of the prison.
Yes. You're collaborating with the system to decorate your cell. You get the new sofa. But in exchange, you validate the reality of the cell. You pour your creative energy into making the illusion stronger.
So you're literally cementing the bricks of your own prison wall with your desires.
Exactly. You become an active collaborator in your own enslavement, all while thinking you're a powerful creator god. It's genius.
And that leads directly into how they keep you playing the game. It's not just these, high-minded intellectual concepts. It's emotional.
Which brings us to the hooks, the emotional levers and what the text calls louche farming.
We should probably define louche. It's a strange term if you haven't heard it before. It comes from Robert Monroe, the out-of-body experience pioneer.
Right. He wrote about his encounters with non-physical entities who seem to feed on human emotional energy, particularly strong, chaotic emotions. Fear, suffering, but also intense, ungrounded ecstasy.
So louche is a term for this emotional energy as a commodity. A food source.
And the primary harvesting mechanism for this, according to our source, is weaponized empathy.
Okay, this one is tough. Because empathy is held up as maybe our greatest virtue. It's what connects us. The source isn't saying we should be psychopaths, is it?
No, it's more specific. The mechanism is defined as empathy as portal. It's an attack on obligatory compassion. The idea that to be a good spiritual person, you must take on the pain of the world.
So you're basically opening a direct portal to your energy field and letting the collective suffering just pour in.
You're plugging yourself into the pain grid. And the text is explicit. This is emotional louche farming.
Ugh.
If I can convince you that it is your spiritual duty to feel every tragedy, to hold space for every trauma broadcast on the news, I've turned you into a perpetual energy source.
You're not healing anything. You're just feeding the system that thrives on that suffering.
It's an exploit in the human emotional system. It's a hack. True sovereignty would be the ability to observe suffering with compassion, but without becoming consumed by it, without letting it drain your battery.
But we're taught that's cold, that's detached, that's unspiritual.
Which brings us to the next lever. The inner child and the victimhood trap. The source argues that constant inner child work isn't always about healing.
So what is it about?
It's about creating and reinforcing early wounding templates. By constantly focusing on the trauma you experienced when you were 5, you're building your identity around being wounded.
It creates a deterministic prison.
Yeah.
The story becomes, I am this way because of what happened to me. You're locking in your past as your present and your future.
It blocks future reconfiguration. You're essentially telling the system, my core identity is this trauma. And the system says, message received, here's more experiences to validate that identity.
Wow. So it scripts you into a state of persistent unworthiness, guilt, shame.
The highest octane louche there is. Those dense, heavy emotions keep you glued to the floor of the matrix. You can't ascend if you're anchored by the weight of your own past.
And then for the people who think they've moved beyond that, for the more advanced souls, there's the old soul ego track.
Oh, this one is so common. It's the ultimate spiritual compliment, right? You're such an old soul. People love hearing that. It makes them feel special, wise.
Of course. But the mechanism identified here is that it induces specialness euphoria. It feels great. But the con, the real trick, is that it reinforces reincarnation investment.
That's it. Because if being an old soul is a good thing, then you're proud of the fact that you have been recycled through the prison system thousands of times.
You're bragging about your sentence length. I'm the most experienced inmate here.
Exactly. It tricks you into wanting to come back. I have a mission here. I have to help humanity ascend. It's all just justification for getting back in line to be processed again. The system loves an old soul. It's a reliable long-term battery.
And to keep you in that vulnerable state, they give you the command to be authentic. But the text reframes this. Authenticity versus facade.
We're told constantly, be vulnerable, be seen, drop the mask. But in a predatory environment, and this text frames our reality as fundamentally predatory, dropping your shields isn't liberation.
It's a tactical error.
It's suicide. The source argues that this demand for radical vulnerability is a tactic to get you to expose your weaknesses, to map your triggers, so the system can manipulate you more effectively.
If you're in a war, you don't show up to the battlefield naked and crying about your childhood. You wear armor. But the New Age tells you armor is just your ego.
It wants you soft. It wants you programmable, which is the perfect bridge to the next layer of the prison, the fog.
We have the walls, which are the axioms. We have the hooks, the emotions. So how do they hide the system itself?
Bafflements and obfuscation.
I really do like that word, bafflement.
That's perfect. And the first one on the list is a big one. The hard problem of consciousness.
The great philosophical mystery. How does the physical brain create subjective experience?
Right. And science can't explain it. Philosophy is stuck on it. But this source just dismisses the entire debate as a bafflement layer.
A distraction. A shiny object to keep the intellectuals busy.
Its purpose is to mystify origin. If consciousness is framed as this infinitely complex, unknowable mystery, it induces a surrender to the unknowable. You just throw your hands up and say, well, I guess we'll never know.
And you stop asking the important questions like, is this consciousness being manipulated? It causes discernment paralysis.
You're so in awe of the mystery of the prison ceiling that you don't notice the guards are locking you in. And this is amplified by the next bafflement, omnism and relativism.
Omnism being the idea that all spiritual paths and religions hold a piece of the truth. All paths lead up the same mountain.
It sounds so tolerant. So enlightened. But the danger, as the source points out, is over-inclusive relativism.
If everything is true,
then nothing is false. And if nothing is false, you lose the ability to identify the control matrix. You can't call out a lie. You can't identify a trap.
Because the trap is just another valid path. Our content control is just another lesson from the universe.
It makes you spiritually porous. You accept everything, and that includes your own cage.
And to keep you completely dizzy, they throw in the multidimensional model.
Oh, yeah. Dimensions, densities, timelines, starseeds, Arcturians versus Pleiadians, light languages.
It's dazzling. It's fascinating. And the text argues that these complex layered realities are used to obscure a simple containment structure.
It's the casino principle. All the lights and sounds and complex games are there to make you forget one simple fact. There are no windows, and the house always wins.
If you're busy trying to map the 12th dimension and figure out if you're a Syrian hybrid,
you're not looking for the exit door right here in the third dimension.
It is.
Complexity is camouflage. It keeps the intellect occupied so the intuition can't get a word in.
Okay, so we're trapped, we're being emotionally harvested, and we're confused by design. But why do we stay? Why don't more people just rebel?
Because of the carrot.
Yeah.
Section 5, future lures and reincarnation bait. This is maybe the most insidious part of the whole machine.
And it starts with the New Earth deception.
This is the absolute bread and butter of so much of modern spirituality. The shift, the Great Awakening, 5D Earth. A new paradise is just around the corner. Just hold the light. Be patient.
The source calls this weaponized hope. Future unity is weaponized against present rebellion.
How does that work exactly?
Well, if you truly believe that a post-shift utopia is coming any day now, that the good guys are about to win, or benevolent aliens are coming to save us.
You remain passive now. You don't fight. You don't build alternatives. You just wait. You tolerate the current abusive system because you think it's temporary.
It's the old pie in the sky when you die trick, just repackaged for the digital age. Instead of heaven after death, it's 5D after the solar flash. The mechanism is identical. Keep the populace docile and waiting for a savior.
It's a pacification program. And while you're waiting, maybe you try some quantum jumps or timeline healing.
Right, I've seen these. Quantum jump to the reality where you're wealthy.
The source identifies this as a false salvation type. It promises instant transcendence. But what it actually does, according to the text, is recycle you without any structural confrontation.
It's a lateral move inside the prison.
That's it. You move from cell block A to cell block B. Maybe B has a nicer view, but you're still in jail. Right. You haven't confronted the structure of your imprisonment at all.
And if that doesn't work, if your life is still difficult after your quantum jump,
then they hit you with the deadliest tool of all, the mirror fallacy.
Reality as a mirror. The idea that everything in your external world is a perfect reflection of your internal state.
If there's chaos in the world, it's because there's chaos in you. I cannot stand this one. It feels so cruel.
It is the ultimate form of victim blaming, but it's dressed up as spiritual empowerment. The psychological toll is devastating because it enables self-blame cycles.
It's diabolically brilliant. If the Matrix attacks you, if you get sick, lose your job, face systemic injustice, you blame yourself. I must have attracted this. My vibration must be too low.
So you turn the anger and frustration inward, which generates
more louche, more of that dense, negative emotional energy for the system to feed on.
Yeah.
You are literally beating yourself up so the warden doesn't have to.
And that ties into the biggest lure of all, the reincarnation cycle itself. The text calls it the reset cycle.
And it argues that the whole idea that we need to keep coming back to learn lessons is just evolutionary necessity propaganda.
Think about it. If the goal was really to learn, why would they wipe our memory every single time?
Exactly. It makes no sense. It's like sending a kid to school but burning all his notes at the end of each day. You don't learn faster. You're forced to repeat the same lessons over and over. It guarantees you never graduate.
The whole system is a harvest enabler, and the old soul archetype, the idea of balancing karma, it's all bait to keep you invested in coming back for another round.
So if you somehow manage to see through all of this, the walls, the hooks, the fog, the carrots, they have one last line of defense.
Section 6, the commands. These are the final enforcement protocols.
And the nuclear option here is radical non-duality.
The idea that it's all one. There is no good or bad, no right or wrong. It's all God. It's all perfect.
And the analysis here is absolutely razor sharp. The text calls this a command for total illusion acceptance. If everything is perfect just as it is, you completely neutralize your own resistance.
You look at a war, at suffering, at manipulation, and you just say, well, this is also part of the divine play. Who am I to judge?
And by doing that, you consent to it. You allow it to continue. The heretical Gnostic view would be that this ignores active, archontic evil. It's selective logic designed to disarm your spiritual immune system.
If you believe the cancer is just as divine as the healthy cells, you won't fight it, and you'll die.
And right alongside that is the command for integration over escapism.
Don't be a spiritual bypasser. You have to be in the world. Ground yourself. Integrate your shadow.
This pressure to integrate is defined by the source as enforcing balanced matrix participation. It means be a good, productive prisoner. Meditate in the morning, sure, but then go to your job, pay your taxes, and don't cause any trouble.
It's behavioral containment. Keep the battery plugged into the system and functioning smoothly.
So, that's the map. The walls, the hooks, the fog, the carrots, the commands. It's a bleak, horrifyingly complete picture of a perfect trap.
But the document doesn't leave us there, does it? It offers a way out. A rebellious synthesis.
Section 7, the escape velocity protocol. This is the so what do we do part. This is what makes the document so dangerous.
It starts by identifying the ultimate deception. That all of these mainstream spiritual paths, New Earth, healing, non-duality, they all converge on one thing: deferred unity.
A future reward, a prize you get later. And in the meantime,
your present sovereignty remains unclaimed and the harvest continues.
Okay, so the escape velocity protocol, it's 5 steps. Let's go through them. Step 1, refuse future bait.
Stop waiting. Stop waiting for the shift, for saviors, for an event. It's not coming. You are the event. The time is now.
Step 2, reject passive acceptance commands.
Stop integrating with a sick system. Stop saying it is what it is. Anger at injustice is not a low vibration. It is the fuel for the rocket that gets you out of here.
Step 3, burn reincarnation investment.
This one is huge. You have to actively, consciously destroy the desire to come back. Let go of the egoic idea that you have a mission here or you're an old soul with work to do. Your only mission is to leave.
Step 4, reclaim sovereignty as non-negotiable.
You are not a piece of a larger God. You are a sovereign creator in your own right. You do not ask permission. You do not pray to external forces. You stand in your own authority, period.
And finally, step 5, withdraw energy consent.
Cut off the food supply.
And the final line in the document, its core maxim, is just. It's so powerful. No frequency harvests what is no longer fed.
That's the key to everything. They can't take what you don't give. If you stop feeding them your fear, your guilt, your worship, your misplaced hope, they starve. Or at least they lose their grip on you.
It's a total paradigm shift. It's not about love and light. It's about will and sovereignty. Not power over anyone else, but absolute power over your own consciousness, your own energy.
The true path isn't merging with the oneness of the matrix. It's about radically separating yourself from the parasitic overlay.
It's dangerous knowledge. Once you see the bars, you can never unsee them. All the comforting stories start to look like parts of the cage.
But that's what we do here. We break the story. And the story of your spiritual path might be the biggest one there is.
The analysis guide is closed. The schematic is on the table.
Deconstructed.
Piece by piece.
Hopefully for some of you listening, the bars of the cage just became a little more visible.
And the exit door just cracked open an inch. But seeing the door isn't enough.
Walking through it. That's escape velocity. And it means letting go of all that heady baggage, the guilt, the specialness, the pride in being an old soul.
Drop it all and run.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So here's our question for you. We've exposed these spiritual concepts as potential traps designed to harvest sovereignty and defer true freedom. Now, what is the one belief about unity, awakening, or your own power that you've held on to longest? And are you finally ready to put it on the chopping block and burn it down?
Let us know in the comments. Question the narrative, deconstruct the dogma, see the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical.
Thank you for joining us.